all of our microphones are not hooked up into this main system because we need that feed to continue to do the proper audio feed for the live one. So as this is the first meeting, we're working through a couple of little glitches here, but we'll have... Yeah, exactly. So we'll have the main system up and running for next meeting, hopefully. So speak loud, councillors. How many times? Once. Oh, I thought there was more than one.
No, I started the flood.
Oh, right. Okay, I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Smith that council adopt the agenda for the regular council meeting on April 11th as amended to add item 6.5 being a columbarium fee adjustment.
I'll give you that motion, Mayor Snodgrass.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All in favor? Carried. Approval of previous minutes and the strategic priorities chart. So I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Barton that the following are adopted by an omnibus motion in accordance with Council's procedure bylaw. March 28th regular meeting minutes, March 16th annual meeting between Town of High River and the Foothills School Division, and the strategic priorities chart.
You have my motion, Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Any public comments before we start?
There are no public comments.
Thank you. Anybody from the gallery? Now that we've got one again. So we'll move straight into the High River Scouts delegation. I know there's a big group that are here today, so Riley or Kieran, can you just make sure that the proper... Actually, I can turn the microphones on from here. So who's the spokesperson? All of you? Okay. So if you guys want to just bring your chairs up, the computer in the middle, you can kind of all huddle around that, and I'll turn the one mic on. That'll work. Go right ahead.
Alrighty, so we are the first High River Scouts. We are presenting today about a community project we would like to do. Of course, we would have to have some approval, and we're just here to present the idea and see what you would think of it there. So the project is the Yellowfish Road project, if you have not heard of it. It is a project aimed at reducing local water pollution levels in surrounding lakes, rivers, and all that. Many people do not realize that storm drains are often directly connected to our lakes and rivers in our local area. The Yellowfish project aims at reducing those pollutants by informing the public, and as a community we can work together to help reduce those pollutants to not only improve the water quality for the wildlife and aquatic life, but also Canadians who are dependent on that resource to live.
So every youth that is here today is working towards their Chief Scout or Queen Venture Awards, which is a recognition of our contribution to the public, our leadership skills, and our personal development. Aside from volunteering, a service project is required, and we have chosen the Yellowfish Project.
As volunteers for the Yellowfish Project, the first High River Scouts would split up into groups and go around designated residential or commercial areas, hanging door hangers and paintings near or on storm drains to inform the public that only clean water should be entering the drains. The paint that use is environmentally friendly, and safety gear is provided in the kits such as gloves and vests for visibility.
With your permission, we would like the approval of this project in the area or areas of the town that you feel would need to be covered. We are also wondering if the town would like to sponsor this project, as there is a $255 materials fee associated with it.
And if given approval, we would like to start this project late spring, so hopefully sometime in May.
That's all we have.
Fantastic. Thank you. Any questions from council? Councillor Nychuk?
Thanks, Mayor Snodgrass. Thank you, guys. Fantastic project. Really, really worthwhile for our community and raise that kind of awareness. I'd like to put a motion on the floor. What was the amount, $255?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I make a motion that council support the $255 fee for the paint and supplies for the Yellowfish project?
Okay, motion on the floor from Councillor Nychuk. Any questions regarding that motion? All in favor? It's easy money, folks. Carried. Now, as far as the locations as to where you're doing this, Susan, do you have locations as to where you would prefer to do it?
It's been a while since someone has done this project. I think we've done the southeast and downtown previously. So that's been quite a few years, but it's been more this area. So I think southwest or northern areas could be possibilities.
The Northwest was done at one time, too.
Okay, I know the guides did once, but I couldn't remember, so.
Okay, well, why don't we leave the location up to you guys to figure out where the best place is, because I don't think we're going to take your guidance on that one as to where it's been done before and where it needs to go now. So it's almost like we got to put big yellow fish on a lot of these driveways so they'll stop washing their cars. Hey, with their dish soap. I know what you're dealing with, and I appreciate what you're doing because it's extremely important. All that water off the streets goes straight into our river. So it's a big, big deal. So very well done. Any other questions from council? Well, I see about two if I actually put my glasses back on. Councillor Kinghorn, first.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. The area over off of 12th was rebuilt last year in the southwest, and I know a lot of the street drains were redone there, and I just thought if you would, and I happen to live in that area too, but I would certainly support being in the southwest on 9th Street.
Councillor Jones? On the Little Bow Creek, all that stormwater comes down on my ditch. They're welcome to come in the corner there and monitor it on the corner of my land.
There you go. There's another project for you.
You're more than welcome. I like kids. I might even give you some cookies. No, really.
Careful.
Down at the bottom of my creek is where the ditch comes into the Little Bow and it goes southeast down the Carflat to the, to the dam that's down there. Not Carflat, Little Bow Creek or whatever they call it. Anyway, you can come down in there because the last time the guys were looking for leopard frogs. And my son put 2 of them in his pocket, and I forgot to take them out of the washing machine.
Councillor Jones, now that Councillor Campbell's done.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say congratulations for you guys to come up here and speak. I know it's hard, and being great leaders up and coming in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have one question. How would you want to go about doing the funding? Do you want invoices, or how do you want to do that?
Susan, talk to Chris.
Okay, one of us, yeah.
Okay.
No, figure that out. Yeah, no problem. That's easy. Thanks very much. Doing what you're doing. Well done.
I give you my name and address. You kids can come anytime. I like kids.
Next up, we have a delegation from the High River Pump Track. Jeff's not here. It was Jeff that was coming? Okay. So Jeff's not here, so if Jeff shows up, we'll just switch back to dealing with that one. So we will move into item 6.1, being the strategic priorities chart update from Chris.
Thanks, Mayor Snodgrass. So as council is aware, we developed strategic priorities back in November at the beginning of your term. That strategic priorities list has made some progress, and this is the first progress report to date on the first quarter of action on the priority list. Implications of the recommendation that's before you to adopt the updated chart are seeing that we have recorded progress that's taking place. There has been one item that's moved off the top 5 chart, as well as several items have shifted their milestones as well within the chart itself. In particular, when you take a look at the chart, we have moved the Riverside Homes properties off the list, as that is now into operational sales, and has been moved on to is being deemed complete. Council's priority was the development of the sales strategy. That sales strategy was adopted and approved by council and implemented by staff, and now we are in the active sales process. The town plan terms of reference was developed, issued, and a contract has been awarded. This now can be moved to community engagement. The community engagement process is up and running with the task force, as well as rolling out detailed community engagement throughout the community up until the end of June. Recreation facility, the direction that we're seeking, we are continuing to compile additional information. We had a presentation this afternoon regarding the capital expenditures associated with updates and general maintenance to the recreation complex. This priority will continue to be on this list and combined with feasibility analysis for a new facility somewhere else within the community, with a date of June to hopefully have a direction from council on how best to proceed forward. The Northwest Pedestrian Bridge will hopefully be coming off the list here shortly at the end of April with the final report, but we have confirmed the location. We've completed the engagement. The final report is anticipated at the end of April, and that changes from location to final report, which will be presented to council for approval. And then the final one is community connection proposals, still in the progress of being worked on. That is targeted for the end of May to be presented to council. But I want to be clear to council as well. The community connection proposal integrates quite a bit of the engagement that we've already undertaken as part of the town plan. And with Riverside Drive and Highview Park properties being replaced with an destination event strategy, that very well could be part of that process as well. So as we complete that proposal process and present that to council, we may find that there's significant overlap with already some priorities that are underway. In addition, there are several movements within advocacy. We will be deleting the county water agreement as of today. We've got the water agreement on the agenda, and we will be signing that 4-year term with the county for supplying water outside our boundaries. The Riverside Drive properties in Highview Park no longer need to be lobbied at the provincial level. We now actually own them. We have title to all of them, and so the GOA is out of that framework now, and we can move that one off the list. The coal policy, we've received the final report on the coal policy engagement strategy, and we can remove that one from the list. And then the Foothills Tourism Liaison, we did receive a presentation from Foothills Tourism. We can put this one off, take this one off the list for the time being until something new comes forward, and leave that where that sits. We are proposing that we add Alberta Health Services, community mental health supports, just as a continued lobbying effort to secure money for mental health supports within the community and to support our counseling program. And we were recommending that be added to the community. On the follow-up action list, 3 items get removed from the list. One, the removal of the broadband study that was presented to council, and council is now within the lobbying efforts for advocacy to seek broadband vendors in the private sector. Removal of the First and Street and McLeod bump out. This was budgeted for as part of the 2022 capital plan and has been added to a contract that is already underway. And the removal of Foothills tourism benefits. That's being removed from the follow-up action list as well. So based upon that, the rationale for the recommendation is to adopt the updated chart, the follow-up action list, as well as the work program associated with it, and continue working on progress. Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass.
Thanks, Chris. Any questions from council? I see none, I hear none. So I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Jones that council adopt the updated strategic priorities chart, follow-up action list and work program dated March 31st, 2022 as presented.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll give you that motion.
Thank you. No further questions? All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Chris. RCMP Building Renovation Contract Award. Cody?
Afternoon, Mayor and Council. I come before you today to speak to you and seek approval for the contract award for the RCMP detachment renovations. This was a capital project which was approved in 2020. Some work to date has been completed, flooring, some painting, and some blinds. Up until that point, nothing else had been done. So part of the renovation, it includes a man door between the interior garages. Right now, the RCMP need to carry their weapons through a garage door to the exterior of the building and into another open garage door. So a bit of a security challenge there. And then it also updates their kitchen area, their coffee room, and then provides some hard wall protection on the walls and the hallways and such throughout the detachment, as we see a tremendous amount of damage from their guns and weapons as they're going up and down the hallways. So we proposed a public tender back earlier this year and opened it up on the APC as well as town advertising. And 4 tenders were received back, or proponents were received back, ranging in price from basically the highest being $160,000 down to $99,000. Through our PM service, which is WSP, who is hired to give us a hand with the project management of the project, a complete evaluation on all the proposals were done, and we found that Russ Preet, who was not the lowest proponent, however, based on all the information provided in their submission, completed a full package, and we believe there is some success there with them being one of our preferred vendors. With Russ Preet, we do have some pre-existing work that has been done with the community the rec center slab, curling slab. It's a cost perspective proposal, and with the $109,000 in which they are proposing, it will basically allow us to complete that project and get it off of our books, and we'll be under budget at that point as well. There's one factor of a live scan printer, and I believe I may have the RCMP convinced into paying for that, so it doesn't have to come out of our budget as well. So I'm working with the RCMP on that right now. Anyways, if there's any questions on that, definitely welcome to respond.
Thanks, Cody. Any questions from councillors? Councillor Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. What's the completion timeline for this?
Yeah, absolutely. The completion timeline is approximately 11 weeks from the date that we issue the actual contract award. So I'm kind of anticipating back into June-ish is kind of what we're figuring if all goes well.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Nychuk. The council authorize award for the RCMP renovation contract to Russ Preet Construction in the amount of $109,800, exclusive of GST or contingency for the project completion, and the council authorize CAO and administration to execute the contract with Russ Preet Construction.
I'll give you that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Cody. Foothills County Water and Wastewater Services Agreement. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. Well, this has been a long agreement in coming. We've been working on this for about 2 years. We finally got kind of the agreement hammered out with Foothills County that ties their rates back to our fee bylaw and shares the costs associated with our residents and our businesses. So that's an equitable approach and a fair approach. In addition, within the agreement, we are also charging them for water leakage on their water lines that are outside our control to ensure that they're following through on their due diligence to ensure that they're properly maintained. As stated, this has been a 2-year process on getting this agreement negotiated. It is a reduction by 1 year instead of a 5-year agreement down to a 4-year term. That will line up with the next election. We wanted to make sure that there was enough consultation process. We did hand this agreement over to the county back in the fall of 2020, and they've been working on that since that point in time up until this date. So besides that, we do see an increase also in the Cargill rate. Cargill will now become a full customer of the county of Foothills, and no longer us as an intermediary between those parties. There's a responsibility for the water line that goes out. That is the county-owned water line that leaves our boundaries that heads to Cargill, and that will be something that the county and Cargill will have to work with. So we do see a 2 cent increase per cubic.
Order enough.
A 2 cent increase per cubic meter for Cargill rate, and so we'll see some additional revenue generation on our water and sewer utilities from that perspective. So based upon that, the rationale before council today, or the recommendation that's before council today, is to adopt the 4-year agreement tied to our fee rates, and we will see annual increases of fees similar to our residents as well for all the users in the county. So that's the rationale for the recommendation, Mayor Snodgrass.
Thank you, Chris. Like you said, a long time coming. Councillor Kinghorn.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. Yeah, I just want to say thanks to administration, Chris and Riley, and all the efforts that they put into this agreement. It's been well over 2 years and a long time coming, and it really addresses the issue of water conservation when we put in that bit of a penalty there for leakage. So it's a great deal, I think, for both of us, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Kinghorn. And I do have to give a lot of credit to Jessica Giesbrecht. She was doing the heavy lifting, drafting the majority of the agreement and taking thoughts and putting it to paper, and working with our solicitors. So she deserves a lot of credit too.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Kinghorn that council approve the attached water and wastewater services agreement, and council authorize the mayor and CAO to execute the agreement.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. I'm very pleased to make that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Chris. Mayoral proclamation for National Volunteer Week, Kieran.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. The town of High River has historically recognized National Volunteer Week through a proclamation. Along with this proclamation, the town holds a flag-raising celebration to recognize and appreciate the volunteers in town and the work that they do. The proclamation would be read as part of the flag-raising ceremony. The town also typically hosts a volunteer celebration. This year, the town's volunteer celebration will be held in person on April 28th, 2022 at 7 p.m. at the Highwood Golf Course. If council chooses to authorize the mayor to sign the proclamation, staff will arrange for the proclamation to be signed and posted to the town's website. Staff will also arrange for the mayor to have a copy to be read out during the flag-raising ceremony that will be live streamed on social media on April 25th. There are also ongoing social media posts promoting the annual Volunteer of the Year event for the Stars of High River, and there is information available on the town's website, including a nomination form that is open until April 15th and an event registration form, which I encourage Mayor and Council to fill out and attend the event. Please and thank you. I am now open to answer any questions Council may have.
Any questions from Council? Thanks, Karen. This is standard procedure that we do every year. So, Councillor Jones.
Thank you. I know you said that it was going to be live streamed, but will it be out front here at a certain time?
Yes, it will be live streamed. It's going to be at 9 a.m. Mayor Craig Snodgrass will read the proclamation as we raise the flag, and then it will be uploaded onto YouTube and social media after that.
I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Jones that council authorize the mayor to sign the proclamation for the 2022 National Volunteer Week.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. I'll give you that motion.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Kieran. Item 6.5 deals with columbarium rates, and I am going to remove myself because my business is one of the sales reps for the town of High River to sell columbarium rates.
Thank you. As Deputy Mayor, I'll be taking over the chair for the moment. Chris, do you want to speak to this item, or should I just read what we've got here?
Councillor Kinghorn, I can speak to this item. So we've been developing a waiting list since May of 2020 of people interested within our new columbarium. Due to construction delays and delivery of the product, which was supposed to be constructed in September of 2021, it just recently was placed, and now we can complete those sales. However, in February of 2022, we increased the rates, and we also introduced a resident and non-resident rate. Several of those clients that are on the waiting list prior to April 4th, when this issue was brought forward, are non-residents. What we're proposing and proposed to council today is that we accept that waiting list as a commitment to purchase, authorize those to fit within the residential rates of $1,800 per niche, and that council waive that non-resident rate for these people on the waiting list that are currently on that as of April 4th, 2022. So that's the background from that perspective, and it was something that we didn't connect the dots with when we proposed the new non-resident rate in February of this year with the new fee bylaw.
Thank you, Chris. I don't have a light here to tell me. Are there any questions from council members of Chris? Councillor Nychuk?
Thanks, Deputy Mayor, and on to Chris. I'm not quite getting the April 4th thing, because my understanding of it was that, how should I put this, a customer, a prospective purchaser brought this to our attention, but we passed these rates, not in this room, but through council process, at a certain date. So I don't quite understand the April 4th versus when we actually passed the rate change.
So some of the dates aren't clear on when they were added to the waiting list. So we wanted to make sure that we just chose the April 4th. If council so chooses to include the date of adoption, that would be fine. We don't think the people that may have made the list after that date of adoption are non-resident.
Okay, fair enough.
Does that answer your question? Any other questions?
If we don't have definitive dates of prospective purchase, then that seems like the fair way to go about it. Thank you, Chris.
Any other questions from members of council? Please indicate. Seeing none, I will read this piece of paper given to me. Whereas the 2022 fee schedule set columbarium rates for resident and non-resident purchasers, and whereas administration has developed a waiting list dating back to May 2020 prior to the introduction of a two-tiered resident non-resident status, be it resolved that council approve all applicants on the waiting list as of April 4th, 2022 to be granted the residential rate of $1,800. Any questions? Hearing none, those in favor?
Do you need a mover?
Oh, wasn't I moving it? I thought I was moving.
No,
Okay, I need a mover. Councillor Nychuk? All those in favor? Passed, carried. You'll get Mayor Snodgrass?
Okay, we'll move on to item 7, board and committee reports. Anything from councillors on the boards or committees that they sit on? Councillor Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to let everybody know that the Chamber of Commerce will be hosting their AGM on Wednesday this week at Knee Deep. So council's invited to come and take part and be present.
Thank you very much. No other speakers on the list. Move into public comments. Any public comments before we move on? Al? Go ahead. Say that again.
Did you also increase the rates for burial plots at the cemetery after you raised
The columbarium? Yes, so there's non-resident rates for burial plots as well.
Okay, so for residences, it's
No, there was a slight increase on the,
Just checking on my investment.
well, your investment sucks. Because you can only sell it back for what you paid for it anyway, so, to the town.
They told me, don't take that offline.
That's right, yeah, we'll do something else. Council correspondence requiring action. So I'll put this one over to Chris. This first one, proposal to join the National Police Federation's call for action regarding the provincial police force.
So as, if council's read the email and the correspondence that's been received, it is basically asking for a motion to support the call to action not to become part of the provincial police force task force and to continue on with the RCMP within the province of Alberta. This is kind of one of our issues that's an emerging issue that we've identified within our advocacy for provincial policing. We do not think that there's enough information out there to make a decision or support a framework moving forward. And last week, was it last week? I think it was last week, RMA as an association came out and opposed any provincial police force and retained the RCMP on a rural basis. So that's the synopsis of the email that's before you. And it's just asking for council support. Council can adopt a motion or they can just move on past this and just leave it standing as it is and come forward with a different position at a later date.
And if I'm right, AUMA voted against a provincial police force as well, correct?
That's correct.
So AUMA and RMA have both voted against it. So I think it's fair to do the motion and support where National Police Federation's going as well. So ask for a motion from Councillor Nychuk, the council direct administration to join the National Police Federation's call for action. I'll leave it at that.
Mr. Mayor, I'll give you that motion.
Thank you very much. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Invitation for mayor and council to attend McCoy Cabin rededication June 11th. Pretty simple request. So I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Barton that mayor and council will take the invitation into consideration, and if the mayor and councillor, if the mayor or a councillor is planning to attend, that they will notify administration to inform Shepherd Family Park.
Mayor, you have my motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. New signage proposal request for 1103G 18th Street, the Ever Spice Grill. Gennady? Is Gennady here? Is the lead going to present?
Yeah, Gennady wasn't able to.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Good afternoon, Council and Mayor. So yeah, this is just a simple application for a backlit signage for a business owner, and based on the current land use by law, backlit signs are prohibited. And so he wasn't happy with the decision, and he referenced other backlit signage with our community. And whether it's the Fire Hall or the Buster Pizza or the Donair, and those were all grandfathered in, except the Fire Hall. It was for different high quality design, and it was town owned signage and the lower illumination as well. So we were able to work with the Fire Hall, but others were grandfathered in. And not only grandfathered in, but the dimensions and the locations were also similar to the previous signage. So we were able to work around that. But if anything changes, whether it is the location or the dimensions, they will have to comply with the new land use bylaw. So basically, it was really, we tried to work with him around other options, but he was adamant about backlit signage, which is basically prohibited at this point.
So Khalid, would this be a new sign that's going, a new standalone sign
That's right.
right?
That's
Not-
right.
Not the one that's sitting there currently that
that's
they
right.
were adding to, okay.
That's right.
Councillor Kinghorn?
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. Clete, with respect to the grandfather, these are existing signs already. Am I correct in that they're already existing signs and it was simply a change of the faceplate to reflect a new name? So it wasn't like a new sign or anything like that?
That's right.
Thank you.
Councillor Nychuk?
Thanks, Mayor Snodgrass. Khalid, maybe just for the interest of the new councillors that were brought on this term, can you give just a little bit of the background on why, when we did the land use bylaw, why we made that decision on backlit signs, just to give them a bit of, is that fair? Can you provide that? Thank you.
Yeah, I think the main thing is really the light pollution, really, and the quality of the overall public realm. That we want to make sure that really everything is linked and designed based on human scale, based on interaction with the buildings and the pedestrians. And when you are really backlit signing, it's just going waste and it's going upward. And so we want to make sure that it's top down and it's really linked to the pedestrian, not just to the skies and whatnot. So it's really, the pollution was key for us, and pedestrian scale was also key. And we want to make sure that really there is kind of integration between, the proposed designs and the human scale and whatnot. So really, it came through a lot of discussions. It wasn't just random decision we made, and we know we could always let an application here let go and allow one small business to move forward and whatnot. But those small decisions, they add up, and it become really a whole kind of situation where there is no any quality of development within our community. So really, that's how we wanted to be consistent, having a consistent message to all business owners and throughout the community.
Councillor Jones?
Thank you. That was my basic question is why that particular bylaw? And there are other options that he could look at if he so wished, or is there like no lit signage at all?
He has other options, but it just doesn't have to go backlit. But he has other options. He can always work around as long as he doesn't create a light pollution, as well as also the proposed lighting also designed to be human scale and focus on really lighting his business and attracting to his business, not just spread the light all over the place. So
but he doesn't want to look at those other options.
He is not looking for those options at this point.
And then the other question I have is about grandfathering, and I get that. But if a bylaw is made and a new business takes over, I think maybe that's where things need to change, no? Or you just have to because it's already there.
If the new owner is changing the location of the signage and the scale, then they would have to comply with the new bylaw. But they are just replacing the name and everything on the same dimension and same spot, then they don't need to really go far.
Okay.
We do encourage them still. We encourage them to, if by design they can adjust and improve, then yes. But if it's not possible, then we always try to accommodate their interest.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Councillor Smith?
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. Further to Councillor Jones's point, though, he has the misfortune of leasing a business in a place that doesn't have pre-existing sign. If you look at the other businesses that are in that area, there's 2 new businesses that are able to utilize the backlit sign that was already in place for them. So I don't know that promotes parity in terms of your business ownership when it comes to proper signage, because I was there on Saturday and I could see that all of the other businesses were nicely lit up and this one was not. And I do think as a business owner that's a reflection on you as your business that you're not able to promote it to the same extent as the others. So I think that's an issue here for how I perceive this. And I understand where this business owner is coming from, that he can't illuminate his business to the same degree as some of the other ones that are right there, and just because they happened to buy one that had a pre-existing sign in place. So I'm not sure that it's a question, it's just how do we have parity then for all of those businesses in that same space? Because that building was there prior to some of these other businesses starting. It just didn't happen to have a wired-in, light-upable sign, right? So I could see.
He can light it.
He just can't
He can't-
backlight it?
He can't backlight it. So if he has this sign here and he has a light that points back at the sign, what you don't want is the light going that way. That's right. That's why it's in the land use
That's right.
bylaw, is because it's been shown 1,000 times over with light pollution and backlit signs that it goes out.
That's right.
Right? It's lighting up everything else. You can do just as nice or better signage with front lit signs. He can light it. He can light it and have it lit up just like it's not going to be, well, your sign's lit up more than mine. It's not. That's what happens with change. We learn from what happened in the past and we make changes, and so that we don't. It's light pollution is exactly what that's all been about.
Okay.
Councillor Nychuk?
Just to add to what Mayor Snodgrass said, again, if you want an example, Councillor Smith, look across the street at Mercier's Denture Clinic. He's got the downlit sign, so he's got a placard and then it's lit from above. So that's the kind of thing that got changed when we did the land use bylaw. So that's representative of a allowable sign in today's framework. So just to give you a reference point.
Councillor Barton?
So the whole concern here is just the backlit, correct? Okay, so I would think one thing that we may need to look at this at a later time, because I can think of some examples in Calgary and of signs that I've seen that are backlit, that are, the letters are backlit with neon lights or something like that to highlight them. So I don't know, this is something I think we need to come back at some point, take a look at. I haven't looked at that bylaw, so I don't know the details of it, but just food for thought.
Different sign one. I should turn that on so that YouTube knows what I'm saying. But yeah, we can absolutely, council's always available to revisit any part of that bylaw, and but it's written as it is today. So.
And administration doesn't have the authority to make those decisions. So, I mean, it has to be council. If council chooses to relax the bylaw, we have no issues with that. But we want to just make sure that we give the right information and then council can make the decision.
But the danger is you relax this bylaw for one person, you just did it for everybody. The bylaw is now garbage. There's no point in having it. So we put bylaws in place for a reason. So I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Kinghorn that council direct administration to follow up with Ever Spice Grill regarding their signage request.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. I'd like to make that motion.
All in favor? Carried. One piece of correspondence, Town of Fox Creek concern over rising utility rates, as we are all seeing that and all have concerns. No further questions, comments? Meeting adjourned, 3:43.
Normally we just have 30 people watching.